Yo, what's up? Y'all just saw it. How Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles exposed Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. But welcome to another episode of Coach Walker TV. And on today's episode, we're going to break that down a little bit. We're going to talk about this quote unquote Super Bowl rematch. So let's get right into it. All right, so first things first. One of the main things I hate that the media does is when they call these games like this a Super Bowl rematch. Technically, you can look at it that way. I mean, the two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, it's a rematch, but it's not a rematch in the sense of this is not the Super Bowl. This is a regular season game. It's a Monday night game, but it is not the Super Bowl. The same things are not on the line. The intensity is up, but I don't think it is up as much as it would be if it was a real Super Bowl rematch, as if this was February already and we were seeing the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles again. So I can't stand that. But anyway, let's talk about the game a little bit. First of all, two of the top quarterbacks in the league, hands down. Two of the best teams in the league, obviously, hands down, and a great matchup on the Monday night. Probably one of the best Monday night games we've seen in a couple of seasons. It's probably going to be the best Monday night game we get all year. But either way, I just want to talk about the turnover ratio that happened in the game. So the biggest stat in this game was the turnovers. And typically that's the biggest stat in most NFL football games. That's the one that's going to kind of tell you, who won the game, who lost the game, and why. You can't turn the ball over and you can't give the ball away. Defenses are trying to take the ball away. So the Eagles were +1 in the turnover margin this game. They committed one turnover. The Kansas City Chiefs committed two. And I wouldn't even say they committed two. The ball was taken away from them 2 times. But here's the biggest thing about that stat for this past game. The Kansas City Chiefs turnovers happened in the red zone. And we can talk about the drop passes, which we're going to talk about here shortly. But we can talk about those. But the biggest factor in that loss last night were the 2 red zone turnovers. If Kansas City does not turn the ball over or give the ball away in the red zone, then they probably win that game. Think about it. So the first turnover came with Patrick Mahomes throws the interception in the end zone. I saw what he saw. I don't think he. Man, it's kind of hard to say that he didn't see that defender, but if he didn't see that defender, he threw the ball as if he didn't see the defender. I have to believe that if he saw the defender, he would have put that ball a little more to the outside with a little bit more zip on it, and it would have definitely been a touchdown. So, you got to put that on Pat Mahomes. As good as a quarterback he is, he's still human. He's still going to make some bad plays, and that was definitely probably one of his worst plays of the season. He just, lollipopped that ball up there. He threw a nice catchable ball for his receiver, but he didn't see that, at least it's my opinion, that he didn't see that defender. And that Eagles defender came over, made a great play on the ball, snatched the ball out of the air in the end zone. That hurts. And then later in the game, he throws a nice first down to Kelsey, his favorite target of all time. And Kelsey makes a move. He doesn't protect the football. Eagle defenders come in, boom, and literally punch the ball out of his hands. Another red zone turnover. So you have to account for those. And I think that was the biggest factor in the game, and that was the biggest exposure that the Eagles came in and took advantage of. They said, hey, if we can get them to turn the ball over, we can take the ball away, get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand, get the ball out of Kelsey's hand, we have a better chance of winning this game. And they did just that. And then the thing that helped them were the drop passes. I'm going to talk about that right now. So the other contributing factor to the Kansas City Chiefs losing last night's game, these drop passes. I mean, there were probably 4 or 5 drop passes that Mahomes threw to receivers that hit them in the hands, and they dropped it. Now I get it. Conditions were not great, a little chilly out there. The wind was blowing, a little rain coming down out the sky. It makes things a lot tougher. It makes it a lot harder to catch the football. But I'm sure with the preparation that they have coming into the game, they had to know they were going to be trying to catch wet, slippery footballs. I mean, you have to know that, right? But dropping passes in NFL games is kind of tough. I mean, you do this all the time. You catch the ball, and I'll preference this before I get into it too much. So, as a coach, that's what I coach. I coach receivers. I am a wide receiver specialist. So I'm going to break down, especially the last one by Scantling. We have to talk about that drop. That was a huge drop. But before I get there, just the other drops that we saw. I know Kelsey dropped one. I think the other tight end, Watson, dropped one late in the game. So those drops became big, and those drops were literally balls that hit them in the hands. They weren't like tough catches. They hit them in the hands. So that's going to hurt. You're going to need those plays to have, but you can't drop the football. So to jump on Scantly's drop late in the game, I know that it was probably the biggest drop of the game. Let's just take another look at it real quick, and I'm going to break it down after we take a look at it. So what we see from Scantling is a great route. He gets off the line well, he gets upfield, he stays on line, and Mahomes throws a absolute dot. I mean, an absolute dot to him. And I saw a clip come across my social media with Tyreek Hill saying that, it's hard to make those catches at night in the lights. Okay, so as a former receiver myself and as a receiver coach, I can agree with that a little bit. The ball can cross the lights a couple of times in the sky. You can lose sight of it briefly and it'll come back into vision, briefly, and it'll be right up on you type of thing. I get it. It's a little rainy out there, but at the same time, an NFL receiver has to anticipate that happening. This is what happens. It's a night game. The lights are bright, and even in the daytime, you have sun glare, and the ball can cross the sun from time to time while you're running down the field, and trying to track the football. Now, as a former receiver, I will say, those are tough catches to make even in great conditions. Running down a field full speed, tracking a football coming out of the sky, not only is the ball dropping down out of the sky, the ball is still moving forward with velocity and it's still spinning. So it is a very tough catch to make even in perfect conditions, and that is why they call the wide receiver position a skill position. That takes a real skill to run full speed and track a football coming out of the sky from 50 or 60, 70 yards or wherever far the ball's coming away. Now, Scantly, that's the only thing I'll kind of give him on that. Now, outside of that, that ball hit him directly in the hands in that moment in the game. You have got to have those. Again, when that ball hits you in the hands, and I know my receivers out there, my NFL receivers, my high school receivers, my college receivers, y'all know this. And if you don't, you're about to learn something. When that ball hits you in the hands, you have to squeeze it. Scantling was falling forward. His momentum was carrying him forward. The ball was placed perfectly. Gotta squeeze it. You just have to hug the football. When it hits you in the hands, you have to bring it into your body, squeeze it, hold on to it, and hit the ground, just squeezing the ball. That ball hit I think what it looked as if he misjudged it a little bit as it got to him. That ball had a lot of velocity on it still as it was coming out of the sky. So when it hit his hands, I think it was still moving a little bit faster than he anticipated, and therefore he did not squeeze it like he should have. And he dropped the ball, and it happens. But that is not the reason why they lost the game. But it didn't help. It didn't help. If he catches that ball, obviously we're talking, we have a different story today. But it was a great game on both sides. I would not be surprised if we see both these teams in the Super Bowl again. And I actually wouldn't mind that myself. And I'm a Steelers fan, but I wouldn't mind seeing these two teams play again against each other. Jalen Hurts, top quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes, top quarterback in the league. So great game by both. But the Eagles, hey, they exposed those boys. Turned the ball over, and the Kansas City Chiefs did not help by dropping the football in certain situations that could have won that game. But hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Hey, let's talk about it. I'll catch up with y'all next time. Peace.